continue in English. I'd like to ask for Mr. Xenophon Kappas, General Director, Captain of Vassilis and Carmen Constantakopoulos Foundation, to join me on stage. Welcome, Mr. Kappas, and Dr. Angeliki A.Kavga. She's a professor at the Agricultural University of Patras. We will begin with our next topic. Phil, now you have the floor. Good morning. It is a pleasure to be here today. I'll begin first, and we will just make a brief overview. We take a brief overview of what has happened during the eight years of these events. But I believe many of you have participated in these forums and conferences in the past and have become part of the family. It is very obvious to say that during all of these times that we've been, of course, discussing about this issue, there are a lot of worries about what's going to happen and what's happening today. Well, that's why the AgriBusiness Forum came to just answer these questions and worries. Allow me to wear my prescription glasses. So, before I ask Ms. Kavga to take the floor, I would like to just briefly present to you what has happened during those 8 years of AgriBusiness Forum. We are talking about a very big platform of dialogue, and we have managed to discuss about different things, different sectors, for example, the food production, the different sectors, and we have managed to bring different sectors together, different bodies, different people, everyone that is actually is part of this sector. This forum is actually contributing to all the topics of agriculture. We've heard that there have been 13 regional and international events. 8,500 people have participated during those events. Many speakers that have contributed with their knowledge and expertise on the topics of food production and agriculture, and many more. We've had different events, different networking events as well, dialogues, and we have managed to bring people together. And all of these things have helped us to create a new ecosystem that is based on cooperation and innovation and many more. As it's been said, we are part of an area that is here and has to face a lot of tensions, geopolitical tensions as well, energy tensions as well. And allow me now to present a few more things to you about the AgriBusiness Forum, because at first it was just an event about agriculture at a strategic forum dialogue. In 2018 and 2019 we had a clear ambition. We wanted to create a space where the production and the business people as well as the academia and the public sector could meet. During its first years of presence, we focused on innovation, the agri-food sector, digital farming, smart farming, entrepreneurship, and different startups. During these times, we created the new international networks, the new master classes, and we laid the foundation to create an institution for something would be more than a conference, but something would turn into a system of dialogue. In 2020, of course, COVID hit us. It was a different era back then. Instead of canceling our forum, we tried something else. We moved into the digital platforms, and we were able to examine how resilient are the agri-food systems during times of crisis. That's when we started to discuss about the agri-food sector and food security. 2021 and 2022 were the years when we wanted to implement more things like sustainability, the CAP, and we opened the discussion at an international level. Some important things are digital transition, green policies, and the sustainability of agri-food systems. We started seeing different bodies, national and international, participating, different ministries participating, and that's when the forum was changed. In 2023, we matured, and that's when we met at the the Greek European Parliament here in Athens, the representation of the the European Parliament. Nowadays, we are discussing more things. We're discussing about food systems unfortunately, at times of uncertainty. Back then, we had the topic of how Greece is actually moving this sector in Greece and abroad in Europe. Please allow me to point out some remarks. I've noted down 4 important things of the Agribusiness Forum. First of all, the boosting of innovation and digital agriculture. It was from the beginning the basic pillar of the Agribusiness Forum. We had different subjects, different sections at all of our agribusiness forums, like the precision farming, the smart production change, and many more. We were able to bring together business people, as we said, researchers, producers, farmers, and many more. The next topic is the contribution of the dialogue of the politics. How can we make this strategic? There were different topics that were discussed there. For example, the common agricultural policy of the European Union, the food safety and security, and many more. The participation of the different bodies that make decisions regarding the agricultural policies, of course, is of great importance, and we're very happy to have it. A third topic is, of course, the creation of cooperations and networks. That is one of our very important goals. We want to bring together all of the agricultural actors. We want to foster knowledge, boost innovation, and bring people closer. And lastly, the regional and international impact, these relationships of micro and macro, which of course, while of course supporting the regional conferences, we've been supporting international conferences, national conferences, and that's when we were able to bring people together, local authorities, farmers, and many more. We had many people joining us, speakers from abroad, ministers, different people. So, in closing, the Agribusiness Forum during these 8 years has managed to transform to a pivotal conference and with many topics. This is important to create a resilient and sustainable place to discuss these topics, and this is a place where cooperations are being created. The challenge which I believe exists is how are we going to turn this platform of dialogue, this platform of solution will turn into a part of politics, a part of the executive powers, and how is this going to change into and transform into a national, local, international level. Thank you very much.
Ναι. Ευχαριστούμε πολύ, κύριε.
Thank you. Good morning from me too. Now I would like to continue this conversation from what Mr. Kappas said when it comes to the presence of agribusiness at a regional level. This started with the Peloponnese in Ceres, actually. Then in Katerini we had another conference, and then we completed this series of events last fall with our greatest exhibition, AgriBusiness Forum in Thessaly. And there we managed to showcase a lot of interesting problems which have been discussed in the AgriBusiness Forum, but the timing wasn't appropriate for those problems to be a part of our daily agenda and our policies and the life of the farmers, etc., etc. Now, at any case, I can say that, as you said, there are a few highlights from a few agrobusiness, meaning I remember the agrobusiness at the European Commission, where all banks participated. We concluded that the highlight of this discussion was that farmers cannot step inside the bank. Everybody goes outside and do not dare to pass in front of a bank. There is no support from the banks. And the second most impressive thing was last year in Athens, at Mr. Vaios Gannis's panel, how the red pepper from Florina is being sold at 4.5 cents from the producer, and at the supermarket it ends up costing 4.5 euros. So you understand, 4.5 cents and 4.5 euros at the end. Now let me talk about today's problems, the problems that exist in the entire agri-food sector. I will put on my glasses as well, I'm sorry about that. In 2025 in Europe we had this peak of all the troubles that hurt the agricultural world. The energy cost, it is now quite clear with the war among Israel, Iran and the US and what's happening at the Hormuz Straits. Prices are going up when we're talking about food, feed, and an extra burden from the way the European Union wants to do the green transition until 2050. I think that the way the European Union uses is quite unserious, and we are not yet sure that in 2050 we're going to have a climatic neutral European Union. And the most important thing is the insecurity, of course, and the danger and the worry of all European farmers from the Mercosur agreements, which took 25 years to be completed. It was finally completed on the 15 countries of the European Union, and Greece gave a positive vote, in my opinion, because it counts the security of the products that have a protected brand, imports, exports, and of course the geopolitical importance of this agreement. But the basic problem of this Mercosur agreement is the 7-year adaptation period where all products can be sold without any control. Now, in our country, things will lead to a reduction in the income, problems from the weather changes, and the diseases, of course. And from August last year, we have slaughtered 465,000 sheep because of diseases, and the state has not yet clarified whether we can use the vaccine or not, which, from what we've learned in Thessaly, is being sold and is being used. And the farmers shared this with us, said that they don't have any other solution but from the vaccine. The delays in support money, and especially in a period of scandalous intransparency, lack of transparency, and there are a lot of problems that are enough to make farmers angry, as we already know. AgriBusiness Forum in Thessaly was a very important conference of strategic dialogue from the transformation of the agri-food culture in Thessaly, meaning that Thessaly is the greatest terrain of agricultural production that we have in Greece. Then we have Crete, Macedonia, and possibly the Peloponnese, Western Peloponnese. Now, focusing on that has to do with the collaboration and the main challenges of the agri-food sector in Thessaly. I'm just gonna tell them, are environmental, climate crisis, of course, and natural disasters after 3 extreme weather phenomena, Ianos, Elias, and Daniel, and non-efficient use of resources, high production cost, lack of long-term design, lack of water resources and irrigation problems, and lack of introduction of new technologies, because, you know, new technologies are now cutting edge. Lack of digital skills from farmers, and especially from advisors from the Ministry of Agricultural Development. Even the advisors do not have knowledge regarding new technologies. And of course, let me close with inclusion. We have very limited participation of women and social minorities when it comes to high-tech farming. Ianos, Daniel, and Elias tornadoes since 2020 were very hurtful for Thessaly. The basic things that will be discussed here are the climate crisis and the supporting of development of Thessaly and all other production areas of Greece, because this area has lived through repetitive destructions that hurt the production. Reduction of the cost of production and energy protection, because the cost of the production, the feeds and the energy reduces the gain. Water management, because Thessaly is facing a severe lack of water, The earth is facing desertification, and the development is of past decades. New technologies remain limited, so digital transformation is something that we should deal with and make it an experience for younger people and younger farmers, and also supporting transparency and social participation, because this delay, the lack of human cooperatives, and the low participation of young farmers, young and new farmers, young in age and new farmers, the people that decide to work as a farmer, as a producer. So the lack of support for those people are problems of many years. AgriBusiness Forum in Thessaly always tends to make suggestions, and we remained in 5 important points that will be discussed here. Modernization of water and irrigation management. They need to create a new institution managing the waters and water resources in Thessaly, to maintain the already existing networks, to introduce systems, modern systems of irrigation, to go from ancient forms of irrigation to modern water drip type irrigation, so that we can monitor also the water needed, and of course support precision farming that reduces the inputs and also increases the output, meaning the quantity of the produced product. And also a gradual transition to cultivations of lower water needs. And of course, above all, what was discussed was that we could create smaller and medium-sized water depositories in order to collect winter waters. Now, when it comes to the reduction of cost, reduction of electrical energy, photovoltaics, the use of photovoltaics, which of course are not an innovation, it's not something innovative. I mean, they have been existing for years, but they can allow us the double use of the land. Meaning, as Mr. Balakakis says, we should stop installing photovoltaic parks in fertile land, because the problem in Thessaly is huge, and especially when they put photovoltaics, the use can be used for double purposes. So stable prices of feeds, of animal feeds, and fertilizers in order to reduce middlemen, and cooperatives. Adaptation of the cultivations in the climate crisis. We need in reality to control whether the already existing cultivations can sustain these climate changes. We should showcase pillars of biological cultivation and also products of extra value, regional clusters, support of corporations with incentives that represents the farmers and can proceed to international corporations, and above all, a system of prevention and management of natural disasters. So I told you before that digital transformation is a one-way street. But what was suggested were digital farms, meaning some experimental digital farms where the producers can be trained in technologies such as IoT, drones, robotic systems, with anything else we can be offered by the use of AI. So education programs, and most of all, the farming advisors should have the know-how and then transfer it to the farmers. Now, when it comes to livestock, we should support the VNL systems, bioanalysis, and faster diagnosis of diseases. There is only one association of livestock in Greece, where pig farming is quickly developing, and they described as the effort that they did in 2019, while the ministry knew that there is plague in the borders with Bulgaria, they made a huge effort to stop the transfer of the plague, because when plague comes to the pigs, death is immediate in 2-3 days maximum, meaning it is a very destructive disease. And it showed us the example of pig farmers that could be an example of beef farmers, livestock farmers as well, when it comes to sheep pox, that is still a problem. And I'm sure that now that Easter is coming, we're going to have a lack in sheep. Now, support programs in order to create stables with digital monitoring, support of added value of farming products, meaning we should promote farming products and quality products. And this is something that Mercosur does for us, because Greece will have 334 products protected in Europe, and 21 of them are protected. Feta cheese, for example, olive oil, and citrus fruits. And this is something very important that we have managed to achieve. At first we were talking about one product, but now we have 21 products to be protected by Latin America false productions. And now, would you mind, please, because anyway, one more minute. And of course, we need to deal with the administrative issues by introducing a fund for quick and digital remuneration of farmers with the use of satellite data, a unified digital platform, and transparency. Now, as a conclusion, modernization of water management and irrigation management, reduction of production cost through energy autonomy and collaborations, adaptation in climate crisis with preventive mechanisms, digital technologies, support of young farmers, and training in digital skills and modern technologies. These were all the conclusions, but I think that they can be used everywhere, all over the country, so that we can say that Greece does have agricultural production and supports these policies. Thank you.
Κυρία Καύγα και τον κύριο Κάπα.